Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because what you are about to hear could completely change the way you look at the coins already sitting in your drawer, your old wallet, or a small box you have not opened in years. Today we are talking about a Swedish coin that many people have held in their hands without ever realizing its deeper story or its hidden potential. The Sweden Krona from 1992, issued during the reign of King Carl Gustav, is not just spare change. It is a quiet witness to history, craftsmanship, and a period when Sweden stood firm between tradition and modern change. For collectors, especially those with experience and patience, this coin represents something far greater than its face value. In 1992, Sweden was facing an important moment in its economic and social journey. The early 1990s were not easy years for Europe. Financial systems were under pressure, currencies were tested, and nations had to balance old values with new realities. The 1 krona coin from this year carries that atmosphere within its metal. It was produced to be strong, practical, and long-lasting, just like the Swedish identity itself. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of King Carl Gustav, a monarch who has reigned for decades and has become one of the longest-serving kings in Swedish history. His portrait on the coin is calm, controlled, and dignified. There is no excess, no unnecessary decoration. This simplicity speaks directly to the generation that values discipline, stability, and respect for tradition. Many men between the ages of 55 and 65 grew up in a world where coins were designed to last, not to impress for a moment and disappear. This coin fits perfectly into that philosophy. The inscription around the portrait reflects the authority of the monarchy and the continuity of the Swedish state. When you hold this coin, you are holding more than metal. You are holding a symbol of national identity, quietly circulating through hands, pockets, and cash registers at a time when the world was changing fast. On the reverse, the design continues this theme of balance and purpose. The denomination is clearly displayed, surrounded by elements that emphasize order and clarity. Swedish coin design has always favored readability and function, and the 1992 1 krona is a perfect example of that tradition. There is a certain honesty in its appearance. It does not try to be flashy. Instead, it earns respect through precision and reliability. For many people, this coin was used daily. It paid for newspapers, coffee, public transport, and small necessities of life. Because of this, most examples were circulated heavily. Finding one today in exceptional condition is far more difficult than many realize. Time, wear, and careless handling have taken their toll. This is where true value begins to separate itself from common perception. Collectors understand that rarity is not always about low mintage alone. Condition, historical context, and survival rates play an equally important role. While millions of 1 krona coins were produced in 1992, only a tiny fraction have survived in near-perfect condition. Coins with sharp details, clean surfaces, and minimal signs of wear are becoming increasingly scarce. There are also special factors that can elevate the importance of certain examples. Minor minting variations, alignment differences, or production anomalies can transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. These details are often overlooked by the general public but carefully studied by experienced collectors. For those who know what to look for, the 1992 Sweden 1 krona can hold surprising potential. Another important aspect is nostalgia. For men in their late 50s and early 60s, this coin represents a time when money felt tangible and trustworthy. Before digital payments and plastic cards dominated daily life, coins like this were part of a routine. That emotional connection adds an invisible layer of value that cannot be measured by metal content alone. International interest in Scandinavian coins has grown steadily over the years. Sweden's reputation for quality, neutrality, and stability has made its currency attractive to collectors around the world. Coins bearing the image of Carl Gustav are especially sought after because they represent continuity in a rapidly changing era. As time passes, fewer high-quality examples remain available, and demand continues to rise quietly but steadily. The 1992 issue is also significant because it comes from a transitional period in European monetary history. Just a few years later, discussions about new monetary systems and economic integration would reshape how people thought about national currencies. Coins from this earlier period now serve as physical reminders of a more independent financial identity. For serious collectors, long-term value is not built overnight. It is built through patience, research, and the ability to recognize importance before the wider market catches on. Many of the world's most valuable coins were once ordinary pieces of everyday currency. They became treasures because someone took the time to preserve them, study them, and understand their place in history. If you own a 1992 Sweden 1 krona, it is worth examining it carefully. Look at the portrait details, the edges, the surface quality. Has it been cleaned, scratched, or heavily worn, or does it still carry the sharpness of its original strike? Coins that have been left untouched for decades often tell their story through their condition. Even if your coin shows signs of circulation, it still holds historical value. But for those rare pieces that remain in exceptional state, the potential is on an entirely different level. These are the coins that collectors talk about quietly, the ones that do not appear often and are passed from one serious collection to another. Over time, as fewer examples remain available and interest continues to grow, the value of standout specimens can rise dramatically. What once seemed like a simple 1 krona can become a symbol of foresight and understanding. This is why experienced collectors never dismiss a coin based on face value alone. So the next time you come across a Swedish 1 krona from 1992, do not ignore it. Hold it. Study it. Think about where it has been and what it represents. Coins are silent storytellers, and this one has lived through an important chapter of modern European history. Stay with the channel, because we uncover stories like this regularly, stories that turn ordinary objects into extraordinary discoveries. And now, as promised, here is the moment many of you have been waiting for. Under rare conditions, with exceptional preservation, historical importance, and strong collector demand, a top-level example of the Sweden E. Krona Carl Gustav EO can reach a value of up to $5 million.